Good morning, everyone. Today will be the first Happy Sundays, many blessings. This will be the first attempt that we do, or the first time we do an Ollin Vic, or Ollin V, or Ollin inside, right? All these little quirks and poems and whatnot. We're gonna add some clarity and some context behind them. We may end up crying, and we may end up weeping. All right, and I just need you to be comfortable with this because this is our experience with God, and how we've come to attest to a great mystery. We're not here to bash beliefs. We're simply here to show you that there's other ways to interpret this belief, right? So Jesus is an experience, right? A lot of people take the Bible to be an absolute thing without forgetting that the Bible has context and prejudices and biases. It's kind of like saying people put together what was happening at the times, right? And this is kind of like how our society like evolved, right? This is the past of the societies we live in today. The majority of the books are like that. So, right? There is one of the things is that, Jesus died for your sins. Like, if that's what you choose to believe, go for it. That's what you need, right? That's you. We're here to expand on this belief that this man had a psychological experience, right? There's something that happened to this man that was noticeable enough for people around them to go ahead and to be like, hey, there's something that he's experiencing that connects us back to this thing that we had doubts on, right? There's nothing metaphysical about that. In this case, right, between science and theology or Bible, like the Bible, we have to give credit to science because science doesn't claim to know the mystery, right? The mystery of life, the mystery of the universe. Like, maybe it's shown us like how far, like it's helped us reveal, but in the end, our theories come up against the mystery. Like, the mystery reveals itself as we grow, evolve, right? So Jesus had a psychological experience for us. This removes the metaphysics. Metaphysics isn't science, right? It's also not theology. That's kind of like saying that's like a imagination or fantasy. Now, psychological experience is real. Psychological experience has a meaning and a marker, and it has something behind it that has feeling and values based on feeling and meaning. It's not just I think, it's I feel, I intuit, and I sense. Like, what is your body telling you, right? So, in this case, like, this man had a psychological experience that changed him. And it caused empathy, understanding, compassion, and value of uniqueness, right? I had a conversation with someone in which the Bible was absolutely true, and people who are going to hell because of who they choose to be intimate with, right? That's a big one. We're here to nitpick that one, right? Who people choose to be intimate with, that's a function of sensation, or it's a function of reproduction, right? One of those two. That's not a value, right? That's saying, right? And if you, whatever you choose, like you're saying, this is what I do, that's kind of like what you choose to do. In the end, though, Jesus didn't condemn people for what they did. Jesus sat there and accepted everyone. He didn't say, hey, you're going to hell for you choose to be intimate with. Oh, hey, you did this, you're going to hell. He supported everyone to heaven, right? He didn't, because empathy requires intuition and it requires understanding. Like, you put yourself in people's shoes, right? When you put yourself in people's shoes, you don't draw judgments, right? You sit there in the space with the person, right? Now, when you draw judgments, you use thinking. Thinking puts you in the situation. Thinking makes one thing right, one thing wrong. Thinking separates. Thinking differentiates, right? Thinking is not empathy. Not at all. So, like, his understanding, his teaching was always that, right? He didn't preach the Bible. The Bible wasn't around. What they had was a mystery. They symbolically used the man in the sky as a way to describe the mystery, but for them, that's what it was. It was a mystery. right? So a lot of people give context to the story of Jesus, right? Because, oh, like, and then all of a sudden, when it comes down to who people choose to be intimate with, or condemning people to hell, oh, well, the Bible. The most important takeaway of the Bible is the story and the transcendence of Jesus the Christ, and how he connected us to the mystery and brought us back to that. And we can pretty much discredit, like, not discredit, but disregard everything else. How the universe came to form is a mystery, and how it's going to end is a mystery. So looking at the beginning and the end, like, do we really need to know? Like, do we really have to make absolute that there was a light, and that's how the world came to be? Because science proves otherwise, right? And right now, the other part to this is that it's still a mystery of how we came to be, right? Like, science still doesn't know; it can only speculate. We have theories, but the one thing we can't say is, like, life is a mystery, right? And that's where it's left at. Like, life is a mystery. When you try to give life meaning and objectivity, like, that makes it concrete. That means when things don't work out, you don't have flexibility. Like, that means, loss of beliefs, loss of courage, loss of things. So Jesus and his transcendence is the most important takeaway. It wasn't a metaphysical thing, right? These things at times, they're to look at in allegories, in the way people, like, express themselves. I'll use going into the tomb, right? Like, when Jesus is put into the tomb, have you ever been, like, had been unrested and had too many days? What happens, right? You're almost dying. It feels probably like you're dying on a cross. You're out of whack, you're emotional, you're overthinking things. What do you need? You need to go into a tomb to rest, right? 3 to 4 days. Have you ever taken a vacation for 3 or 4 days? Even not a vacation, just like secluded yourself because you were so overwhelmed. Didn't you feel like you were coming back to life? Like, that's right. So here's an allegory that we can maybe connect to something where, like, beneficial to health. You don't have to view it as something so supernatural. Another one, right? Like, you go ahead and like, people attempt to make, like, the story of, like, Jesus and Joseph and Mary, like, oh, they, right, like, oh, I picture, like, everyone, like, in the Bible groups, and, oh, they were like this, they were like that. Like, what does that matter? They always make this family to be this perfect family. What about if Mary was already pregnant, right? And then she bumped into Joseph, and that's how they met, right? We place a lot of value on making them like us without forgetting. And what I notice is it's always perfect. These perfect pictures where the perfect family. We don't know if Joseph was a workaholic. We don't know, like, what Mary's capacity as a mom was, right? We don't. I mean, obviously, Jesus is running off and going to temple, so they're not paying close attention to the kid. What I'm saying is, when Jesus said, hey, I carry the sins of you and me, right? And people miss the mark. It's this sin, missing the point. Jesus missed the point. His parents missed the point, right? Jesus was just a man who had an experience, who was willing to die for this experience. And what he taught was empathy, understanding, compassion, and uniqueness. He did not teach judgments, condemnations, or standardization. He did not preach books or the Bible, right? Because it was mere notes. And what he experienced was part of a mystery that is far older than this book, right? And the word sinner is missing the point. How many times, right? And so now we give another context to Jesus, right? And like, people, he's in the temple and he's all upset because people are vending stuff, and he starts kicking everything around, right? Does that sound? Now, I want you to look at this, right? Right? If your best pastor or priest, the most humble person you know, went into a place and started kicking stuff around, that would be out of character for them, huh? That would be out of context. That would be like, whoa, this person, Jesus, just like you and me, he missed the point. He'd kick stuff around and be like, oh my gosh, what did I do, right? What did I do? I was probably hungry. I got flustered and I didn't feel it out or think too much about it, and I'm kicking stuff around. In this case, right, everyone's always trying to make Jesus all perfect. This is the cases where he's just like you and me. He has doubts, right? He gets all spicy and feisty and brr. But the whole thing to the Christ and to Jesus was that he was like, hey, I need to make an amend. Oh my God, I got all flustered, right? I've gotten flustered at people, and this happened especially like you know in organizations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it was always like, ladies, I thank women so much for some of my things, because it's where I've grown the most in compassion, understanding, empathy, and putting myself in other shoes. But Jesus was also, like, you look at it, the original social worker, right? This guy wore flip-flops. He didn't have a job. He hung out with broken people and people who were struggling, right? And people who had challenges and people who were just not doing their best. And he was there to remind them, hey, it doesn't matter what you do. You're the best, right? Find that in you. Find what moves you. That's it, right? He inspired. He motivated. He moved. He didn't preach rules. He didn't say, oh, you're going to hell for who you're intimate with. Oh, hey, you need to do this. And he said, hey, how are you doing today? You need some support? That's what Jesus would do. The original social worker. Now, what would he do? Social, right? A soul worker. We could say that Jesus was the original soul worker. Huh? Out there without a job, being like, hey, yo, come on, we gotta help the people, we gotta support the people, we gotta get some food, we gotta get some article, whatever. But fulfilling the emotional, spiritual needs of the community, right? That's what he did. That's the image of the social worker. That's why sometimes these stories, which are so far-fetched, right? There is a miracles like fish and breads appeared out of nowhere. Could it be that people were so broke back in the days, and Jesus got them all worked? They're like, heck yeah, right? Because we can do it. Like right now, we're thinking we can't do it, but we live in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin, we can, because we're Wisconsinites, right? We're not Wiscant. We Wiscant. We Wiscan. So he gathered people who could do it, and that was a miracle. And everyone pitching in a fish, everyone pitching in a loaf of bread, everyone pitching in something to make the community better as a whole, right? And so I like to, right, like, I like to think in these terms, right? Like, we don't like to look at the family of like Jesus and look at these things as like absolute, right? Like Mary and Joseph, because we have you. We instead look at you, and like the Mary and Joseph and Jesus is every family on the face of the planet. So for us, you are the many potentialities of this family, right? I don't have to look in the past. We can look here in the present and be happy with that and see the family of a living God, right? Not the something deceased and, right? Like something living, something you could feel. Yes. So a lot of people, that's why for us it's a kind of a conjuring people like the man in the sky, right? And the man's in the sky. I say put that man in your heart and carry him around, because then you're going to see him in others, and you won't be so quick to judge. I mean, a lot of you will. It won't matter. But you'll hesitate from, you'll be conscientious in the moves you make if you see God in other people, versus it's just some abstract concept in the sky that has no meaning to you here, right? Like it doesn't, you don't feel anything. You think it, but it doesn't you don't feel anything about it. So, given these things, a lot of people say, what would Jesus do? We go ahead, we're going to add we're going to make it really heavy. What would you do knowing Jesus died for you, right? We cannot guarantee, and I cannot personally guarantee, once again, as I said, I cannot guarantee that me killing a person in the past is going to forgive something that I feel terrible about. I know that I am accountable to myself. If I make an error, I feel remorse, and I'm going to be like, oh, Jesus, and then we apologize, and then we won't do it again. That's remorse. That came off from within. I didn't have to kill a man, right? And we're good with it. We're like, oh, yeah, heck yeah. You know why? Because our covenant, it was with Christ and with the family of God, and not with a book and its rules. Yeah, that's why. Hell, Do we really need hell? Like, can't we also concede to the fact that instead of preaching hell, we should just preach heaven? Hey, y'all, like, yeah, you're like Oprah giving it away. Hey, you're going to heaven, you're going to heaven, you're going to heaven. Oh, you thought you were going to hell? We're all going to heaven. That's what we're here to preach. That's what we're here, I guess, to like bring back, or like have people like really look at that. Hey, it's not about the Bible being absolutely right and trying to prove, like, make it all objective. It's about the great and terrible family of God and the great mystery and Jesus Christ who experienced the mystery, right? And how we become better people by following and being guided by the mystery and the life of this man than by the rules of this book. That's what we're saying. We're not saying here to get rid of your beliefs. We're simply saying here you can rearrange your belief and still have the same effect that you're looking for. If anything, it makes it more personal and connected to you and adds that value and that meaning that you're looking for, right? Because then it's transpersonal again. Then it's your own. It's that one thing, but it's part of you too, right? So this is touched on a lot of ideas. We do need some formal training, and we do hope that there is someone out there who can direct us as far as like going ahead and getting some certificate godifications. We're non-certified, non-professional, all organic, great family. This is what we found for us. This was our experience. I break down weeping in a church. We cannot go to churches. I mean, if I do 2 laps in the cemetery, I'm breaking down, weeping and crying. That's what happened when we think of the mystery. We have an effect to it. That's what we kept going on about. So we're not here to punish, condemn. We're here to expand the great and terrible, the great mystery. I'll just drop the terrible, right? It scares some of you, but the great mystery, right? And find the connection like behind all the world religions and how they all like come together as one, right? The spirit and the soul. That's another thing. A lot of people, mind, body, spirit. What about your soul, yo? No one knows about them concepts. So for us, we do need some guidance. We do need someone who can help us with some godifications to get like something. We're staying non-denominational. Like for us, it's the great mystery. That's what we serve. That's what matters, yo. And we got symbols and stuff going on. So that's how we concluded and we got here. But ultimately, like, it's about that. Like, right, you either got it, G-O-D it, or you don't got it. And what's keeping you from getting it, right? Like, if it's all there. That's why I say, like, people see the man in the sky. No, put the man in your heart. Then that way the mystery is all around you. Not separate from you. Not in some other plane, like, right? Like, you carry the mystery. Not put it up in the sky. How are you carrying God around if he's in the sky? So, yeah, so we're going to move forward with going and adding some clarity. We do need to craft our messages. This is our first time. So for those who like kind of saw it through the end, we thank you. And many blessings to you all. And this is our Ollin Vics. Oh, and this was a joke, right? So did you know that there's an invisible family of flip-flop worm hobos in the sky? And they made you with little bubbles and invisible glue, atoms and electromagnetism, and that's how they have a hand in you. You see, alchemy puts theology and science back together. We put a family back together where people rip apart because the Bible says so. Nah. We found something better than the Bible. We found like the belief, the thing behind the belief. So, but it's going to be different for anybody. But what we're getting at is like, hey, the story of Jesus is what's more relevant, and his compassion, empathy, and understanding towards all human beings rather than the judgments and prejudices and biases of the Bible. The story is about God and Jesus Christ and the great and terrible family of God, and not about people's prejudices, biases, or opinions in the Bible. So that's what we're here to move forward. We're here to expand the family of God in manners that are accountable, right? Right, like we have to be accountable for ourselves. You can't place on your accountability, and this is only for those who can practice it. and we'll take the time to do some study. So anyway, many blessings. We thank you everyone, and have a blessed day.